This is the final teaching bestowed by the Enlightened One, gently urging each person to kindle the light of inner wisdom within themselves, so they may walk their path without losing direction amid the ever-changing impermanence of life. Become a lamp unto yourself, remaining ever mindful and diligent in practicing the true Dharma, wholeheartedly turning inward to observe and cultivate a life of deep inner stillness and purity. Return to take refuge in your own being, recognizing the true value that lies within, rather than seeking dependence on anyone else in this ever-shifting world. Do not search for refuge outside, for all phenomena are in constant change, and only by abiding firmly within a steady mind can you avoid being swept away by impermanence. Maintain a calm and steady heart amid countless changes, always practicing with diligence and perseverance, never giving in to laziness or discouragement. For the path to awakening requires unwavering and continuous effort. Ultimate truth does not reside in distant or mystical realms, but is present within the very consciousness of each person who knows how to turn inward and contemplate deeply. Within the arising and passing of impermanence, the wise can perceive the unborn and undying nature, and even within suffering, they can recognize the seeds of genuine joy. Even within cruelty, one can still discern the light of human compassion, and amid what appears impure, the wise can still perceive the seeds of goodness. Ignorance has veiled human vision, preventing us from seeing the true nature of life and binding us within the cycle of suffering and rebirth. If one can shatter the web of illusions woven by one's own mind, then all sorrow and anxiety will gradually dissolve, restoring a sense of peace and ease within the heart. At that moment, compassion and forgiveness will naturally arise, awakening the hearts and emotions of all beings, flowing within the stream of life. All beings share a common nature, each seeking happiness and wishing to avoid suffering. Therefore, we should live with one another through understanding and sincere love. Each person should diligently uphold the fundamental moral precepts, for these are the foundation that brings stability and guides life toward lasting goodness. Thus, in daily life, people should come together in aspiration to live in alignment with truth, nurturing compassion and responsibility toward family and society. Toward our children and descendants, we should offer wholehearted love, protection, and guidance, leading them along a path of wisdom and goodness. Toward the elders, we should show deep respect, care for them attentively, and serve them with genuine filial devotion. We must also learn to empathize with those who are striving in life, even as they face many hardships and challenges along their journey. Toward those who are weak or have made mistakes, instead of harsh judgment, we should respond with tolerance and a sincere, open-hearted generosity. Always remember that opportunities to practice compassion and understanding are present everywhere in our everyday lives. At times, we may unintentionally act against the true Dharma. Yet what truly matters is the ability to recognize it and sincerely cultivate a heart of repentance. Once we recognize our mistakes, we must continually adjust our actions and thoughts, ensuring that these errors no longer dominate the course of our lives. The thoughts we nurture shape who we become. Therefore, we must always keep our minds clear, wholesome, and directed toward goodness. If our thoughts are unwholesome, they will manifest through our actions, inevitably leading to suffering and unavoidable consequences. Suffering follows, like the wheel that rolls behind the ox that pulls the cart, arriving wherever the action leads, without deviation. Conversely, when the mind is inclined toward goodness, all actions become wholesome deeds, bringing about enduring happiness. These wholesome results will accompany a person throughout their life, allowing the mind to remain peaceful and joyful amid all changing circumstances. When facing life's upheavals, what matters most is maintaining a steady mind and clearly understanding the true nature of all things. In essence, there are three core reflections that each person must contemplate deeply along their life's journey. First, we must ask whether we truly love with a sincere heart, or if our feelings are merely fleeting and superficial. Second, we must reflect on whether we are living fully in each moment, or simply drifting through life unconsciously and wastefully. Third, we must consider whether we possess the courage to let go of all attachments, transcending limitations to attain true inner freedom. Human existence is not merely for survival, but for discovering the deeper meaning of life and our own presence within it. When we learn to sacrifice ourselves and offer our whole heart and mind to what is good, we begin to touch the profound truth of existence. Life and death move together like shadow and form, inseparable within the natural cycle of existence. All gatherings will eventually lead to separation, for this is an inevitable law that no one can escape in this world. All phenomena are marked by impermanence. Therefore, we should not cling to or attempt to hold on to what is destined to change. Just as a snake sheds its old skin to be reborn in a new form, so too must we release the past in order to move forward with lightness and freedom. Therefore, learn to let go of what is past, not allowing the past to bind your spirit or hinder your present steps. Through what we have witnessed, we understand that each small drop of water, when gathered together, forms a vast and boundless ocean. In this life, there are simple truths that anyone can practice if they sincerely wish to attain peace and happiness. The first is to cultivate an open and spacious heart, one that is tolerant and not confined by a narrow sense of self. The second is to speak with gentleness, kindness, and sincerity, bringing comfort and ease to those who listen. The third is to live with a compassionate nature, always ready to give, serve, and dedicate one's life tirelessly for the benefit of others. These three principles form a solid foundation for building trust and nurturing deep bonds of love and connection among all people. Whether one is poor or wealthy, everyone must face suffering, differing only in the forms it takes and the degree to which it is experienced. Today, the teachings offered by the Enlightened One are not meant merely to be heard in passing, but to be deeply contemplated, carefully reflected upon, and sincerely applied along the path of practice. First and foremost, each person must fully absorb the meaning of the teachings, transforming them into inner understanding before being able to share and guide others along the right path. From this very moment, you carry upon your shoulders a sacred responsibility, which is to spread this noble truth to all beings across the vastness of existence. Do not hastily believe anything, even if it is spoken by a revered teacher, but instead examine it through your own wisdom and direct experience. Only when you have applied your own understanding, reflected with maturity, and resolved all doubt, does true and authentic faith arise. O practitioners, remember that all phenomena in this world bear the nature of impermanence, arising and passing away without ceasing. Therefore, you must remain ever diligent and steadfast in your efforts to attain liberation from the cycle of birth and death filled with suffering. Before long from this day, the Enlightened One will depart from this world and enter the realm of ultimate stillness and peace. Some may question these teachings, seeing them as contradictory when speaking of future existence, while denying a permanent self. The wise understand that there is no contradiction, for although there is no fixed self, the continuity of life persists through the flow of causes and conditions. Imagine a seed planted in the earth, sprouting, growing, and eventually bearing fruit, which is the natural continuation of cause and effect. Thus, it cannot be said that continued existence is driven by an unchanging self, but rather by the ongoing unfolding of dependent origination. Some believe that such teachings deny human nature, and that describing life as suffering reflects a pessimistic view. Yet in truth, pointing out the nature of suffering is not to spread despair, but to help people clearly recognize the reality of life. Only by understanding what suffering truly is can one discover the path to transcend and ultimately end it. Therefore, speaking of suffering is the very first step in guiding beings toward genuine peace, not an expression of negativity or despair. Some misunderstand the path of practice as a rejection of the world or an abandonment of social responsibilities. In reality, what is to be let go are only the illusory pleasures that lead people astray and distance them from their true nature. The journey back to the source of life requires great courage, and not everyone possesses the strength to walk it fully. In this vast world, practitioners wander with alms bowls in hand, yet their minds remain anchored in mindfulness and awareness with every step. Each step is like walking upon the edge of a sharp blade, requiring absolute care and uninterrupted awareness. An unawakened person may bring joy to their family, yet can also cause deep and lasting harm. Likewise, a practitioner regards all beings as their own kin, living with boundless compassion and a profound sense of responsibility. An awakened person can help make the world more beautiful and elevated day by day. Some believe that refraining from killing weakens one's strength and makes a person vulnerable to injustice. But in truth, abandoning violence is the path to transforming suffering at its very root, something brute force can never achieve. Violence cannot extinguish violence. Only genuine love has the power to dissolve deep-seated hatred. This is a natural law of life, For all beings fear death and long to live in peace and safety. When one understands that others share the same fears and emotions, the intention to harm naturally falls away. For one who cannot sleep, the night feels endlessly long, while for the weary, the road ahead seems to stretch without end. For those lost in ignorance and unaware of the true teachings, their entire life becomes enveloped in suffering and misfortune. One of the profound lessons of life is learning how to free oneself from the fear that constantly clings to the human mind. One who understands the path does not worry about an unseen future, nor remain bound by the pain of the past. They do not cling to memories, nor fear what is yet to come, but instead live fully and deeply in the present moment. Another truth of life is that all attachments will eventually lead to separation, as nothing lasts forever. No matter how deeply we love or cling to someone or something, we must ultimately accept the reality of loss. When a person no longer seeks help from external sources and stands firmly upon their own inner strength, that is the true sign of liberation. May the Enlightened One compassionately offer guidance to lay practitioners on the essential principles needed to live rightly and build a meaningful life amid a constantly changing world. In married life, the most essential foundation is equality and mutual respect, for these create lasting harmony. A family in which husband and wife love, endure, and live in harmony becomes filled with vitality, peace, and genuine prosperity. That sense of peace does not remain confined within the home, but radiates outward, allowing others to feel its warmth and happiness. The union between husband and wife must transcend physical desires and material concerns, moving toward companionship in spirit and shared values. Husband and wife should see one another as inseparable parts of a whole, supporting each other along the path of growth and inner cultivation. A husband must offer his wife deep respect and preserve her dignity, never allowing his life companion to feel hurt or lose face before others in any circumstance. A wife, in turn, must live in accordance with virtue, refraining from actions that violate moral principles, while maintaining grace, modesty, and a gentle, noble character. A husband must fulfill his responsibilities with integrity, steering clear of harmful habits and destructive tendencies in order to safeguard the lasting happiness of the family. Every decision within family life should be made with careful consideration, grounded in understanding and respect for the wishes and aspirations of one's partner. A wife loves her husband not only through emotion, but through responsibility, care, and a willingness to share in even the smallest aspects of daily life. One should regard the family of one's partner as one's own, thereby nurturing a bond rooted in genuine connection and heartfelt love. A woman often embodies the role of a peaceful refuge, attentively caring for each family member with an open and compassionate heart. Both partners should treat each other with the reverence reserved for honored guests, cultivating trust and sincerity through every action and interaction. When mutual trust and respect are firmly established, the path of truth naturally begins to reveal itself within the fabric of daily life. May the Blessed One compassionately illuminate further the essential principles that must be remembered in order to walk rightly upon the path of awakening that has been revealed. Always remain close to those who are virtuous, for one's environment and companions profoundly shape the course of one's spiritual practice. Those who fail to maintain mindfulness easily allow their minds to grow sluggish and drift away from the path of awareness. When favorable conditions for practice are established, the mind becomes clear and pure, no longer clouded by restless and distracting thoughts. Livelihood must also align with the principles of the Dharma, for one's profession is an integral part of a morally grounded life. No matter what task one undertakes, whether great or small, it should be approached with clear understanding, sincerity, and a deep sense of responsibility. Even seemingly simple acts, such as cooking or caring for one's family, are opportunities to cultivate mindfulness and express loving kindness. Do not dismiss small tasks as insignificant, for it is through these very acts that we nurture peace and well-being for ourselves and those around us. In all favorable conditions that arise in life, one should not cling to selfish thoughts or seek only personal benefit. Happiness, success, and material wealth, when attained, should be shared generously to spread joy and benefit to many others. Avoid harmful habits such as gambling or intoxication, for they weaken both body and mind while eroding one's moral foundation. A person should live with humility, courtesy, and kindness, while still maintaining honesty and integrity in every situation. When given the opportunity to make offerings or practice meditation, these become skillful means to dissolve anxiety and purify the heart. Gradually, the mind will reach a state of profound stillness, where disturbances and afflictions no longer have the power to dominate. Always remember that each morning awakening under the light of dawn is a precious opportunity to begin life anew with mindfulness. A wise person remains clearly aware of what must be done each day, not allowing time to pass meaninglessly or without purpose. People often forget gratitude, yet it is precisely this sense of thankfulness that forms the root of happiness and inner peace. Hold deeply within your heart the countless blessings you receive from life and from those around you. Elements such as trees, wind, water, and air do not belong to us, yet they sustain and nourish our existence every single day. Therefore, one must cultivate gratitude toward all things in order to live a life that is whole, meaningful, and deeply connected. When the heart is filled with gratitude, one receives far more than expected, both in material abundance and in spiritual richness. Nothing is meaningless when we learn to look deeply into its true nature. For every experience carries within it a valuable lesson. If everything were truly meaningless, humanity would have long since collapsed. Yet it is meaning that sustains our will to live and to rise. When the body falls ill, death draws nearer, gently reminding us of the fragile and impermanent nature of life. A grateful heart is like a radiant flower blooming in the midst of life, offering beauty and fragrance to the one who nurtures it. We are born into this world and pass through countless experiences, yet most are intertwined with suffering and constant change. Within the cycle of rebirth, the world is filled with sorrow and grief, easily leading people astray without the guidance of wisdom. Yet this world is not only a place of suffering, but also a field where the awakened can cultivate and grow. One who is mindful must always remain clear and discerning, not allowing themselves to fall into confusion or delusion amid life's complexity. The teacher often reminds us that all phenomena are impermanent, and nothing can exist forever according to human desire. Each person's life is a journey moving toward its end, and understanding this truth allows us to live each moment more fully. Birth and death are two aspects of a single continuous flow, where every meeting inevitably leads to separation, reflecting the unchangeable natural law governing all phenomena. Where there is a rising, there will be dissolution, and without death, there can be no rebirth, for this is the endless cycle of causes and conditions. O seeker of the path, you have wholeheartedly served and cared for your teacher with unwavering sincerity and devoted dedication. You have poured all your energy into supporting and accompanying the path, embodying many noble qualities worthy of deep respect along the journey of practice. Yet even so, you are still capable of going much further if you continue to strive tirelessly and nurture a deep and unwavering aspiration for liberation. Exert yourself even more diligently to cross beyond the stream of birth and death, attaining the absolute freedom of a mind no longer bound by any fetters. True liberation can only be realized when the inner being matures through each encounter with suffering and the courage to transcend it. I know with certainty that you are fully capable of accomplishing these things if you maintain firm faith and steadfast perseverance upon the path you have chosen. It is precisely this that brings deep reassurance to the teacher, witnessing the student grow and mature within the true Dharma. That student possesses many admirable qualities, speaking always with gentleness and calm, offering comfort and ease to those who listen. Whatever is received, that person remains content and satisfied, never allowing craving or desire to dominate the mind. That person treats all beings equally, without distinction of status, closeness, or difference in any aspect of life. Their quiet composure and few words create a sense of peace and ease for all those who come into contact with them. Throughout many years of devoted service, that person has maintained unwavering faith, never shaken by doubt or uncertainty. After the teacher departs from this world, many aspirations will still remain, to be continued and fulfilled by that devoted student. Remember that this path is not about escaping life, but about living within it with wisdom and awakened awareness. I believe that human beings can transform through the practice of meditation and by abandoning unwholesome actions. That hope is entrusted to noble hearts, to those who dare to live for what is good and wholesome. The destiny of each person is not granted by anyone else, but is shaped by their own actions and the karma they have created. From ignorance arise suffering, sorrow, and restless thoughts that prevent the mind from ever finding peace. Emotions such as anger, greed, arrogance, and jealousy all arise from a lack of true understanding of the nature of life. Illusion leads people down misguided paths, causing them to drift ever further from genuine peace and clarity. Though they may appear as two separate states, birth and death are in truth inseparable, forming a single unified process. It is mistaken perception that creates barriers, preventing people from seeing this truth clearly. When all obstacles within the mind are removed, one attains complete freedom, no longer dependent on or entangled in anything. The path of morality, concentration, and wisdom, together with the eightfold aspects of right practice, will dissolve all distorted views. It is right understanding, right intention, right speech, and right action that form the foundation of this path. It is also right livelihood, continuous effort, and mindful awareness present in every moment of life. And finally, it is the deep stillness of the mind, where all disturbances settle into profound tranquility. For one who cannot sleep, the night feels endless, while for the weary, the road ahead seems to stretch without end. Those who live in delusion and fail to understand the true teachings must endure a life filled with suffering and misfortune. Any form of knowledge, whether self-learned, heard from the wise, or even taught by a master, should never be accepted hastily. Each person must use their own wisdom to reflect, analyze, and directly experience, thereby verifying truth through practice. Only through personal realization can one truly understand and firmly trust the path of truth they are walking. On the journey toward truth, you should not rush to believe anyone, but instead remain mindful and deeply contemplative before accepting anything. Even when encountering an enlightened being, one should not regard them as the ultimate end, for true liberation must arise from one's own inner realization. Even in the presence of those closest to you, do not allow emotional attachment to cause you to lose mindfulness or stray from the path you have chosen. Your life must be guided by your own hands, without relying upon or depending on anyone else. Responding to hatred with hatred only prolongs suffering endlessly, while only genuine love has the power to dissolve deep-rooted resentment. This is the fundamental principle of the spiritual path, where compassion becomes the transformative force that heals all suffering. There are things in this world that can never be concealed by darkness, such as the light of the sun, the gentleness of the moon, and the truth itself. No matter how deeply it is hidden, truth can never be buried forever, for its nature is always to reveal itself. If wrongful actions have truly occurred, it reveals that the heart is yearning intensely for liberation. When genuine remorse arises, the inner being is stirred, and from that suffering emerges the will to transcend pain. Just as those who once strayed can turn back toward goodness, every person holds the potential to transform and renew themselves. To change oneself, one must first awaken to clear awareness and honestly recognize one's own mistakes. If we speak of misfortune, it is limited in number, while opportunities for goodness are countless within the fabric of life. If our ancestors, or we ourselves, have created unwholesome karma, its consequences will be like heavy stones sinking inevitably to the bottom of the water. In contrast, when wholesome merit is created, it is like oil rising gently to the surface of water, light and expansive, spreading its influence far and wide. The law of cause and effect operates with perfect precision, for whatever seed is planted will bear its corresponding fruit, not only within one lifetime, but across many successive existences. This present body is not an endpoint, but merely a stage along the long journey within the endless cycle of rebirth. When this body dissolves, the stream of karma continues to flow, carrying a person through different realms according to the actions they have created. Speech is like a sharp blade, capable of wounding others invisibly, even without any physical action being taken. When those who have erred come forward with a heart of repentance, it shows they have been awakened by the light of the true Dharma. All difficulties can be transformed when a person returns to sincerity and cultivates deep and genuine remorse. One should not hastily reject those who have recognized their mistakes, for they stand at the threshold of transforming their lives. Never assume that you have been insulted, for it is the attachment to the self that creates the feeling of being hurt. The true issue does not lie in what others have done, but in whether they are genuinely practicing in accordance with the true Dharma. When a person feels genuine remorse, they must have the courage to acknowledge their faults, for this is the first step toward transformation. Afterward, they must remain mindful in every word and action, ensuring that past mistakes are not repeated in the future. A practitioner must know how to sincerely repent, opening their heart before the community to purify the mind and cultivate humility. Conflicts left unresolved will disturb the harmony of the collective. Therefore, they must be addressed with wisdom and compassion. Open your heart to receive those who have turned back from error and create conditions for them to practice within a pure and supportive environment. In the life of practice, careful organization and sincere love form the foundation for maintaining harmony. Those who live with kindness and compassion naturally become a shining example for others to follow. The time ahead is of great importance, for what unfolds will deeply influence the future of humanity. There will come times when people turn away from one another, when loved ones grow distant, and relationships fracture under the weight of ignorance. Brothers may become enemies, couples may lose harmony, and families may lose the warmth that once sustained them. Disasters and injustices will arise, drawing people into cycles of greed and conflict that seem without end. People will harm one another over differences in origin, language, or belief, creating deep divisions within society. These very conditions give rise to widespread suffering, breaking apart the natural harmony of human life. True harmony can only be cultivated through the awakened awareness of each individual. Yet humanity must ask how to use love to dissolve all boundaries and divisions. To achieve this, people must learn to see one another as members of one family, transcending all differences to build genuine connection. We must establish a new precedent for this era, where ethical values and compassion become the guiding foundation of society. These principles will help humanity move beyond suffering, conflict, and the fires of greed and anger that consume the heart. When we witness former adversaries reconcile, our hearts fill with joy and renewed hope for transformation. Their recognition of past errors and their choice of peace become a guiding light for others to follow. From this, communities can learn to avoid conflict and preserve harmony within the collective. Therefore, it is necessary to establish clear principles to end all discord and nurture a spirit of unity. These principles must be carefully conveyed so that everyone understands and deeply remembers them within their hearts. Doubt is a dangerous affliction, silently eroding trust and shattering the bonds between people. It is like a poison that kills friendship and like a sharp thorn piercing deeply into the core of the soul. Always remember that our thoughts shape who we are, determining every action and every result in our lives. There are those who come to realize that they were once arrogant and prideful, unwilling to listen to rightful teachings. Deep within, they carried jealousy and comparison, causing their minds to become restless and drift away from the true path. When they recognize their faults, they cultivate repentance and sincerely seek forgiveness with all humility. Yet the teacher is only one who points the way, while the act of walking the path and practicing depends entirely upon each individual. Human beings are like diligent spiders weaving their own webs, gradually constructing their lives through their own actions and thoughts. The natural world creates countless forms of beauty. Yet, whether that beauty feels infinite or limited depends upon the perception of the human mind. When desire arises, we believe that attaining what we seek will bring lasting and complete happiness. Yet when those desires are fulfilled, we often feel emptiness. For the nature of craving is that it can never truly be satisfied. Desire is like a dream, for once it is attained, the goal dissolves, and the mind continues its endless search for something more. For this very reason, human life becomes uncertain and unstable when one continues to chase after illusory desires that can never truly be fulfilled. Let go of unreal cravings, for they do not bring lasting benefit or genuine peace to the life of a human being. Even the fear of birth and death need not be clung to, for understanding its true nature will naturally lighten the heart and ease the mind. Human beings must turn inward to discover their true essence, rather than endlessly searching for fulfillment in the external world. In this world, countless people suffer due to material hardship, scarcity, and the injustices woven into the fabric of life. There are also those who endure deep emotional pain, tormented by inner turmoil and negative patterns of thought that disturb the mind. When standing at the edge of despair, instead of surrendering to hopelessness, one should look again and recognize the beauty that still quietly exists around them. Anything taken to extremes, even joy itself, can ultimately become a source of suffering when it loses balance and clarity. Therefore, one must walk the middle way with steadiness, avoiding extremes in order to clearly perceive the true nature of all things and attain inner peace. From there, the mind becomes lucid and grounded, no longer shaken by the endless fluctuations of the external world. For generations, people have found it easy to notice and criticize the faults of others, while forgetting to reflect upon themselves. To transform, one needs the guidance of true teachings and wisdom to help purify the hidden errors within the mind. I affirm that all roots of wrongdoing arise from within each individual, and only through oneself can the door to liberation truly be opened. If a person wishes to cross to the other shore of life's river, what matters most is that they must find a way to cross, rather than standing still in passive waiting. If the river is shallow, they may walk across with ease, but if the waters run deep, they must use a boat or swim across through their own effort. Yet if that person refuses to walk, refuses to swim, and refuses even to row a boat, then the only path they choose is to stand there and beg. In such a state of pleading, will the opposite shore truly appear beneath their feet? Or is it merely an illusion created by their own mind? Such a person can only be called deluded and lacking in wisdom, for they fail to understand that all results require personal effort and commitment. Likewise, if one uses wisdom to restrain craving and ignorance, then the path of truth and liberation will surely reveal itself before them. On the other hand, if one only engages in rituals and outward offerings without transforming the inner mind, they will remain stuck, unable to progress. They cannot move beyond the starting point, for liberation does not come from outside, but arises solely from inner transformation. The earth supports our steps, the sky opens vast freedom above, and this body exists between these elements as part of the greater universe. So what is truth, if not something each person must experience directly and realize through deep awareness and insight? When one understands oneself and releases unnecessary thoughts and desires, a state of balance and serenity gradually unfolds. In that state of harmony, one no longer clings to rigid distinctions about existence as they once did before. Like the changing of the seasons or the falling of leaves, all phenomena unfold according to natural laws that can be quietly observed and understood. Wisdom is not confined to any single place, but pervades all space, like the light of the sun, the moon, and the countless stars. Ultimate truth is the same, belonging to no one exclusively, yet accessible to all who turn inward and truly seek to understand. To reach awakening, one must pass through intense trials, such as desire, anger, and the illusions created by the mind. All these may appear vividly before one's eyes, yet a person with firm resolve will not be shaken or carried away by them. With a powerful vow, such a person is willing to overcome every obstacle in order to realize the highest truth of life. In the end, through perseverance and wisdom, they will awaken to the true nature of reality and attain complete liberation. There are those who seek guidance, asking for the path that leads to wholesome living and awakening within this very life. All things in this world are interconnected, like an invisible thread that cannot be seen by the ordinary eye. If a person diligently performs good deeds, those actions accumulate like waves continuously rising and reaching the shore. Over time, wholesome karma will follow them across many lifetimes, eventually guiding them toward awakening. Conversely, if one creates harmful actions, they must inevitably face the suffering that arises from those deeds across many lives. All these actions together become the causes that determine whether one falls into decline or rises toward greater realization. When mindfulness is maintained in every present moment, the mind becomes peaceful and no longer disturbed by external influences. Within that state of calm, one can recognize the middle way arising naturally within their own inner being. As one transcends emotional attachments and karmic bonds, they move ever closer to the ultimate truth. There was once a grieving mother who came seeking the enlightened one, holding on to the final hope of saving her beloved child. In her despair, she begged for her child to be returned to life, yearning to escape the unbearable pain that tore at her heart. The compassionate teacher told her that the child could be brought back, but first she must fulfill a special condition. She was instructed to go from house to house throughout the city and ask for a single mustard seed, something that seemed, at first glance, remarkably simple. Yet the condition was that the household must never have experienced death, a requirement she had never previously considered.
The grieving mother hurried from place to place with hope in her heart, believing she would surely find what was needed to save her child. At each home, she asked for a mustard seed and inquired whether anyone there had ever passed away. But the answers she received were always the same, for there was no family untouched by loss. With every door she visited, she gradually realized that her suffering was not unique, but shared by all beings. Each person gently explained that their loved ones had already departed from this world, and thus they could not fulfill the condition, leading her to awaken to the truth of impermanence. In this world, all phenomena arise and pass away according to natural law, and nothing can remain forever as human desire might wish. Whether old or young, wise or ignorant, all are subject to the inevitable cycle of birth and death. Had the teacher directly spoken this truth before, the mother may not yet have had the readiness to truly believe and accept it with her whole heart. Truth is like the moon, suspended in the vast sky, always present, yet not always perceived by human awareness. Each night the moon waxes and wanes, yet its essence never disappears, only temporarily hidden from sight. In the same way, life does not truly vanish, but transforms into another state beyond ordinary perception. The child has not completely disappeared, but continues to exist within the deep love and memory of the mother. When the mind becomes calm and settled, the mother will gradually understand the nature of birth and death and rediscover peace within herself. The nature of life is like a shadow that always follows a person, and suffering too remains present as long as the mind clings. The root of suffering lies in attachment to external conditions, failing to see that all things are impermanent and constantly changing. When one realizes that nothing endures forever, the process of letting go begins, opening the path toward liberation. To be free from suffering, the essence lies in transforming the inner mind, rather than seeking solutions outside oneself. Whether joy or sorrow arises, the wise maintain equanimity, allowing the mind to remain undisturbed. When this is practiced, the bonds of suffering gradually loosen and dissolve naturally. Through the cultivation of wisdom, one realizes that birth and death, union and separation, are not truly separate realities. In the life of practice, some wonder whether they should go elsewhere if they do not receive offerings or support. The answer is that they may, but what matters more is understanding the cause behind such circumstances. If that cause still exists within the mind, then even in another place, similar conditions will arise again. Some, when insulted or ridiculed, give rise to anger and wish to avoid places that cause them pain. Yet if one feels joy when praised and sorrow when insulted, it shows that the mind is not yet stable. When one entrusts their mental state to external conditions, they will always be shaken and lose their inner autonomy. External situations may bring happiness or sadness, but this happens only because one has not yet mastered their own mind. If anger still remains, the path to awakening is still distant, and true liberation cannot yet be realized. Understanding this, a practitioner learns to remain calm and steady in both favorable and unfavorable circumstances. It must be remembered that people often resist new ideas, especially when they challenge long-held beliefs. When confronted with something new, they may respond with ridicule, opposition, or even harm. Later, they may ignore or avoid it. Yet over time, truth will gradually be accepted. Therefore, a practitioner must patiently endure this process with humility and deep forbearance. Only by maintaining calmness and compassion can one transform both circumstances and the people around them. If a person becomes rigid in principles without flexibility, they will lose the freedom of the mind. Conversely, if one blindly clings to their own views while rejecting all others, they imprison themselves within narrow perception. In such a state, thinking is no longer free but controlled by prejudice, leading to unnecessary conflict and opposition. Blind belief binds a person even more deeply than having no belief at all, because the mind becomes conditioned without awareness. Thought itself is a powerful force, capable of guiding or imprisoning a person depending on how it is understood and used. When ideas are clung to rigidly, they become the greatest obstacles on the path of practice and awakening. If one is bound by such fixed views, the door to truth will never open, no matter how long they seek. Some may wonder whether following teachings correctly still leads to attachment. And the answer lies in how those teachings are understood and practiced. What is taught is not rigid doctrine, but arises from the direct realization and lived experience of one who has attained awakening. That path is not a system of dry principles or abstract philosophy, but a vivid and immediate experience felt deeply in every single moment of life. Truth is not something to be worshipped or clung to, but something to be lived and directly experienced through one's own existence. If someone turns that path into a rigid doctrine for blind reverence, they have already strayed from its true essence. The teachings are like a raft that helps one cross the river of delusion and reach the shore of awakening. Once the far shore has been reached, the raft no longer needs to be carried, for its purpose has already been fulfilled. Yet within the human heart, there still remain unresolved emotions that prevent one from fully letting go. Human feelings can be seen as three primary states: joy, sorrow, and a deep, abiding stillness. These three states continuously arise within body and mind, appearing and fading like waves that rise and fall upon the ocean. Emotions are like waves upon water, powerful when they surge, yet inevitably returning to their natural state of calm. What matters is to observe deeply and understand the nature and intensity of these emotions within oneself. Whether joy or sorrow arises, one must trace their origin so as not to be carried away by them. When their origin is clearly seen, one realizes that none of them possess a fixed essence and are all inherently illusory. What is called emptiness is not a void of meaning, but
like the vast sky that contains everything without limitation. From that realization, one continues to practice, and gradually the disturbances of the mind begin to settle. The emotional waves that once surged strongly no longer agitate the mind, giving way instead to a profound inner stillness. Through deep contemplation, one begins to discern clearly what is false and what is the truth worth holding. What appears solid and enduring may easily collapse, while what seems soft and yielding often possesses the greatest resilience. Ignorance is the root of all afflictions, obscuring wisdom and leading human beings into suffering and confusion. True understanding can only be attained through meditation and the continuous cultivation of awareness. Meditation dispels ignorance and opens the gateway to clarity and insight within each individual. External forms such as ascetic practices, rituals, or offerings cannot bring liberation if there is no inner transformation. Some ask what is gained after a period of practice. Yet the answer is not in gaining, but in letting go. It is the letting go of anger, of greed, of jealousy, and of all negative emotions that bind the heart. When everything is released, the individual is no longer controlled by anything and enters a state of deep stillness. Some may think this is merely calmness, yet they fail to see that their own anger is the root of their suffering. Anger burns from within, consuming the heart and distancing one from the truth of life. Arguments only increase anger and obscure wisdom, preventing one from moving closer to awakening. Anger is like holding a burning flame in your hand, for when you intend to throw it at another, you are already burned first. The fires of desire, jealousy, anger, delusion, and greed are consuming human life, causing people to sink deeper into suffering without realizing a way out. I call upon all to step beyond the gate of delusion as a wakeful reminder to leave behind the blazing fire that surrounds the mind. Even though the flames of ignorance block the way, within each person there still exists a small door of awareness waiting to be opened. Whoever learns to listen deeply and turn inward will discover a safe path, escaping the ocean of suffering and moving toward true liberation. That path is not far away, but lies right before one's eyes, needing only to be walked with awareness and the courage to let go. Hatred cannot be ended by hatred, but only through genuine love can all resentment be dissolved. This is the natural law of life, where compassion becomes the greatest force capable of transforming all suffering. If one seeks a way out, one must first stop clinging to the past and cease dreaming of a future yet to come. Only by fully abiding in the present moment can one be freed from suffering that once seemed impossible to overcome. All suffering, anxiety, and confusion arise from ignorance, which clouds the mind with distorted illusions. Emotions such as greed, anger, pride, jealousy, and fear all arise from a lack of true understanding. Illusion and ignorance, though distinct, are deeply intertwined, drawing human beings into an endless cycle of suffering. Therefore, one must firmly walk the middle way, avoiding both extreme asceticism and indulgence in sensual pleasures. When one realizes that both good and evil are merely phenomena shaped by the mind, all afflictions begin to dissolve. At that point, one naturally experiences compassion and boundless understanding radiating from within their own heart. These two states are not truly different, but both arise from deep understanding and boundless compassion within the awakened heart. When this truth is fully realized, all resentment naturally dissolves, leaving nothing for the mind to cling to or hold on to, even when treated unjustly. A wise person is still able to respond with understanding, without giving rise to blame or bitterness. When the door of wisdom opens, what remains in the heart is only vast tolerance and an expansive, loving kindness. During meditation, when thoughts arise, wisdom allows one to clearly discern what is real and what is illusory. It is the mistaken division between self and others that leads human beings onto paths of confusion and separation. People are often bound by emotions, and craving is the force that pulls them away from truth and clarity. Within the cycle of rebirth, from birth until death, human beings are constantly governed by fear of illness and mortality. These fears only deepen ignorance and cause the mind to become increasingly restless and unsettled. Therefore, one must cut through delusion in order to free the soul from the invisible chains that bind it. When delusion is transcended, a person enters a state of profound freedom, purity, and deep inner peace. The Four Noble Truths serve as the foundation that helps one understand the true nature of existence. The first truth reveals that suffering is ever present, following human life like a shadow that never departs. The second truth teaches that the cause of suffering lies in ignorance and the negative emotions that arise within the mind. The third truth affirms that suffering can cease when wisdom is cultivated and one clearly understands their true nature. The fourth truth shows that the path leading to the end of suffering is the path of right practice and mindful awareness. That path includes right understanding, right thought, right speech, and right action within the fabric of daily living. It also embraces right livelihood, continuous effort, mindful awareness, and the deep stillness of a concentrated mind. When this path is fully practiced, one gradually transcends all suffering and attains true liberation. Though time passes and all things change, the noble reputation and virtuous character of a person will remain in the hearts of the world. Even a simple life with modest meals becomes full and meaningful when it is nourished by sincere love and genuine care. One who can offer both heart and material resources to others does so from a place of pure intention and deep goodness. Some, out of ignorance, create divisions and believe that contact with others leads to impurity. Yet this is a misunderstanding. In truth, all human beings are equal, and no contact can defile one whose mind is free from greed, anger, and delusion. Only greed, hatred, ignorance, and desire can truly stain the human heart and lead it astray. A person who carries genuine compassion within will bring peace and happiness to others, rather than causing harm or suffering. Judgments based on status or origin are merely expressions of ignorance and a lack of understanding of human equality. Wearing the outer form of a practitioner does not mean one understands the path, for true practice lies in inner transformation. Some accuse others of deception, yet it is their own prejudice and contempt that distort their perception of truth. If one's words can bring comfort to others, then even when misunderstood, there is no need to cling or engage in argument. All beings possess a life equally precious, and none deserve to be looked down upon or treated with disdain. When one harbors contempt for others, they are in fact diminishing their own dignity and harming themselves. Understand that all are nurtured by the same earth and sky, and no one exists outside the embrace of nature. Just as throwing dust into the sky does not stain the heavens, but returns to affect the one who throws it, so too do actions return to their source. Nature itself does not discriminate. Like a compassionate father silently sheltering all forms of life, the earth yields fruits without choosing who may receive them, and the wind offers its cooling touch to all without distinction. Water nourishes and quenches the thirst of every being, showing no preference for any individual. So why do human beings create divisions and harm one another within this shared world of existence? True teachings must be lived through action and not remain as mere words or abstract theories. Some are invited onto the path of practice, yet feel unworthy due to humble origins or lowly beginnings. Yet it is compassion and the ability to empathize with the suffering of others that are the most precious qualities. One whose heart trembles at the pain of others carries great potential upon the path of awakening. Being embraced with sincere love allows such a person to rediscover their own worth and reclaim their forgotten dignity. When treated with respect, a person may, for the first time, truly understand the meaning of being human. From that moment on, they make a sincere vow to live righteously, ensuring that the mistakes of the past no longer repeat themselves in the unfolding of the future. Every human being possesses the capacity to think, to grow, and to awaken the inner potential needed to rediscover their true and inherent value. The path of awakening is the path of love, where all beings are respected, embraced, and gently uplifted without discrimination. Just as many rivers eventually flow into the vast ocean, all genuine paths ultimately lead toward one unified and timeless truth. There is no longer any distinction of origin or identity, for all dissolve into the shared essence of life itself. No matter one's background, with sincere dedication to practice and a heart inclined toward goodness, anyone can reach awakening. Human tears all carry the same salty taste, and blood flows with the same red color, revealing no true difference among us. The divisions and prejudices created by human minds are the very roots of suffering and injustice within society. Therefore, these barriers must be dismantled in order to build a world grounded in understanding and compassionate awareness. Transformation begins with individuals who awaken, becoming living examples that open new paths for humanity to follow. Birth and death are natural laws of existence, yet understanding them deeply allows one to live with greater depth and meaning. When one learns to contemplate and awaken within, they are no longer carried away by ignorance, but gradually move toward genuine peace. A practitioner must remain mindful so as not to be swept away by desire, preserving a pure mind free from the domination of craving. When these attachments are released, one lives a life of harmony, completeness, and fulfillment in every present moment. This is the profound truth of the Dharma, the true meaning of life that each person must personally realize. That truth neither arises nor ceases, having no beginning or end, transcending all concepts of time and form. Within that essence remains only serenity and stillness, a state of absolute peace untouched by any disturbance. You must remember that doubt is a dangerous affliction, for it destroys trust and fractures the bonds between human hearts. It is like a silent poison that corrodes relationships, and like a sharp thorn piercing deeply into the core of the soul. Never forget that our thoughts are what shape us, manifesting in every action we take and every result we encounter. A teacher can only point out the path, while the act of walking and practicing rests entirely upon each individual's effort. The greatest enemy of a human being is not found outside, but within, the weaknesses and ignorance of their own mind. What we think gives rise to our actions, and those actions, in turn, create the outcomes we experience in life. Wholesome thoughts lead to right conduct, while negative thinking inevitably brings about suffering and painful consequences. This is an unchanging natural law, operating with fairness and precision in all circumstances. The path to liberation has already been revealed, and the gate of blessings remains open to all who turn inward. Each person already possesses this treasure, and by awakening to it, they can step onto the path of peace. I aspire to awaken those still immersed in the darkness of ignorance, guiding them toward the light of wisdom. Some doubt that one can abandon extreme asceticism and still attain awakening. Yet this is merely a misunderstanding of the true path. Practice does not lie in outward form, but in the transformation of the inner mind and the cultivation of wisdom. One who is awakened is no longer confined by labels or past identities, but becomes one with all life in the universe. From that point, they exist as part of a vast whole, where all forms of existence are interconnected in harmony and completeness. From ignorance arise suffering, confusion, and negative emotions such as greed, anger,
and fear that cloud the mind. These illusions obscure perception, preventing one from seeing the true nature of life. Therefore, one must remain firmly on the middle way, avoiding the extremes of self-denial and indulgence in sensual pleasure. When it is realized that concepts of good and evil are also creations of the mind, afflictions gradually dissolve. From that realization, compassion and understanding naturally arise within the heart without any force or effort. These two states are not separate, but arise together from deep wisdom and boundless compassion. When this truth is realized, all resentment fades away, and the heart becomes more open than ever before. Even when treated unjustly, the wise can still understand and do not give rise to hatred. When wisdom is awakened, what remains is only infinite compassion for all beings. In meditation, when thoughts arise, wisdom allows one to clearly recognize them without being carried away. The division between self and others is the very cause that leads human beings into confusion and error. Bound by emotion and driven by craving, people gradually drift away from truth and sink deeper into the cycle of rebirth. From the moment of birth until the time of departure, human beings are continually shadowed by the fear of illness and death, a silent anxiety that follows them throughout life. These fears only deepen ignorance and cause the mind to grow increasingly restless and unsettled, drifting further away from inner peace. Therefore, one must cut off all delusive thoughts in order to free oneself from the invisible chains that bind the soul. When these illusions are transcended, a person enters a state of profound freedom, purity, and deep inner serenity that is no longer disturbed. The Four Noble Truths form the foundation that enables human beings to clearly understand the nature of life and the reality of suffering. The first truth reveals that suffering is ever present, accompanying human life like a shadow that never leaves throughout the journey of existence. The second truth teaches that the root of all suffering arises from ignorance, from greed, anger, anxiety, fear, and the deeply ingrained attachment to the self within the mind. The third truth shows that suffering can come to an end when one develops wisdom and clearly understands the true nature of oneself and of life itself. It is this understanding that opens the path toward peace, where the mind is no longer bound by negative emotions or distorted illusions. The fourth truth is the path leading to the cessation of suffering, built upon mindfulness and awareness, guiding one toward concentration and wisdom. That path is the path of righteousness, where right view, right thought, and right speech are practiced with consistency and sincerity. It also includes right action, right livelihood, and tireless effort in the cultivation and transformation of the inner mind. When the mind abides in awareness, all actions become pure and aligned with truth. One who is awakened is no longer bound by outward forms of austerity or extreme practices, but lives in inner freedom.
Some believe they have stopped progressing, yet in truth, they are still being carried by misguided actions and distorted perceptions. To stop does not mean ceasing to move physically, but rather ceasing all actions that cause harm and transforming the mind itself. When one observes with compassion, they realize that all beings share the same wish to live and to be free from suffering. There are those who, because of deep wounds, give rise to hatred and believe the world is filled only with violence and deceit. Yet in truth, cruelty arises from ignorance, from not understanding the true nature of life. Emotions such as jealousy, anger, and greed all stem from ignorance, causing people to lose their inherent goodness. Within every person exist seeds of goodness, such as love, forgiveness, humility, and understanding, waiting to be nurtured. Even the most violent individual has not completely lost their goodness, but it is merely obscured by ignorance. If one turns inward and observes deeply, they will see that the light of goodness still exists within themselves. An awakened person is not a distant or separate being, but simply one who is recognized and lives in accordance with this truth. All beings possess the same potential for awakening if they return inward and cultivate wisdom. The path of awakening has the power to transform violence into compassion and turn fear into deep inner peace. When hatred is released, one takes the first true steps along the path of love and understanding. Some come to recognize their past mistakes and feel deep remorse for the harm they have caused others. Yet it is never too late to change, for each moment holds the possibility of beginning a new life. The ability to recognize one's mistakes is itself a sign that wisdom is still present and capable of guiding one back toward goodness. Correcting one's wrongs is the first step on the path of liberation and a true rebirth in meaning and purpose. No matter how heavy the past may be, with sincere determination to transform, the future can still become clear and bright. Others may continue to view us with doubt or judgment, yet what truly matters is the genuine transformation within. By abandoning violence and returning to compassion, one discovers a peace that was never known before. A guide can show the way, but each person must walk the path through their own will and effort. That path is not easy, yet with wisdom and determination, every person can attain profound accomplishment. When one vows to abandon wrongdoing and live with compassion, it becomes a turning point of great significance in life. There are those who sincerely and earnestly seek to enter the path of practice, hoping to be accepted and guided in order to transform a life burdened by mistakes. Yet the enlightened one does not see accepting disciples as an act of granting favor, but as a personal commitment that arises when one truly understands and chooses the path. One who enters the community does not do so because they are chosen, but because they themselves have chosen awakening through their own awareness. Like a snake shedding its old skin to be reborn in a new form, a person too can transform by letting go of old habits. Through sincere effort and perseverance, each individual can transform both body and mind, opening the way to a new and meaningful life. Some ask what is gained through meditation, yet the answer lies not in gaining, but in letting go.
It is the letting go of anger, the release of sorrow, and the freedom from burdens that weigh heavily upon the mind. When one no longer fears old age or death, the human being enters a state of inner freedom and profound serenity that is no longer shaken by the uncertainties of existence. What the teacher truly values is not fame or gain, but the sincere practice of right conduct expressed through every action in daily life. Like a wildfire spreading through a forest, when there is fuel, the flames will grow and consume everything along their path without restraint. Unwholesome habits and negative emotions are the same, for when they are nourished, they become stronger and increasingly difficult to control. Anger, greed, and anxiety are the very fuels that sustain the fire of suffering within each individual. They prevent the mind from ever finding rest and perpetuate the endless cycle of painful rebirth. If people chase after material wealth and seek constant pleasure, they will fall into an endless spiral of craving without satisfaction. No matter how much they acquire, their minds remain bound, and a sense of fulfillment never truly arises. Worry and unease will always linger, making life feel heavy and devoid of genuine peace. When what they cling to is lost, the pain and confusion they experience become even deeper and more overwhelming. In contrast, when one learns to cut through these attachments, they are no longer controlled by the past or the future. They begin to live fully in the present moment, with a calm and steady mind, free from anxiety and fear of life's changes. By firmly walking the middle way, one gradually realizes that true peace has always existed quietly within themselves.